Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to Sofa Reviews. Today we're watching Torque.
We start off with a car chase in the middle of the desert, which looks a lot like an advert for Hot Wheels.
But then this dickhead shows up on his bike and ruins their race. He is, of course, the hero, Ford.
The drivers catch up with him at the diner and immediately attack him.
What is it about driving cars that makes you all such assholes?
The theory test.
And of course, being a biker means he's able to fight these guys with ease.
His two friends of different ethnic origins show up and they ride off to the opening credits, knocking some guy off his bike as they do.
Why did we even need to see that?
Because it's a plot point.
Seriously?
Yeah, the guy is Ice Cube's little brother. Ice Cube is the head of a biker gang. This kind of comes into the plot later though.
So the police show up to defuse the situation and they all drive off to some random biker meet.
After some gratuitous shots of women to try and make bikes and bikers look cool, some guy gets thrown through a window.
So let me guess, the guy that threw this person happens to know the hero.
Ford. What's he doing here?
That's right, another accidental plot point.
Ford goes off to have a tedious argument with his ex-girlfriend Shane before the plot shows up and cuts things short.
It turns out that Ford has some bikes that belong to this fine upstanding citizen, Henry.
The story seems to think that by making the bad guys a lot worse, we'll like the heroes. But that doesn't work.
Having spoken with Ford, he goes off to sort out a drug deal with Ice Cube.
Ice Cube wants nothing to do with this, and it turns out this makes him the most likeable character in the movie.
Ford and Shane decide to have a bike race because that's how you sort out relationship difficulties.
Because Ford won, he goes off to a bar where he bumps into Ice Cube's little brother again.
Watch out, white boy!
How about we call it an accident?
How about I kick your ass?
No, I prefer we still call it an accident.
How about now?
No, it looks like you owe me a beer.
What are we gonna do about Ford?
I think Junior just solved our problem.
Why don't we just grab him right now?
No. Not now. I got a better idea.
I've got a better idea. It's much more convoluted and poorly thought out.
Let's have some fun.
And remember kids, if you're gonna start a bar fight, always use Budweiser.
So Ice Cube's brother ends up getting killed in the toilet, which is a shame because he was my favourite.
25 minutes in and we finally get some plot. It turns out Henry really wants his bikes back from Ford because they're full of drugs, and the FBI agent also wants them. Meanwhile, Henry's girlfriend is talking to the police, claiming that Ford killed Ice Cube's brother, even though forensic evidence would not prove this in the slightest.
And because this film thinks it's cool, the FBI agent is a cocky prick.
What'd you expect? A cheap suit, late model Taurus, a $10 haircut?
So everyone thinks that Ford is the murderer and try to arrest him, but Shane comes to the rescue.
You were just on the news and that guy you got in a fight with, he's dead.
Henry's setting me up. He wants his drugs back.
Oh, hey, I know. Why don't you give them back to him?
I can't. It's the only insurance I got.
You were with me last night. I'm your alibi. Down, Earl!
How did she know Earl was getting up?
So Ice Cube and his gang show up on their superbikes to chase Ford through the desert, which clearly switched to dirt bikes during this.
Instead of action, however, we get to see them talking in an abandoned yet well-maintained mineshaft.
Well, this just keeps getting better and better.
They talk some nonsense about Henry's bike chain being used as the murder weapon and how they can link that to him being the culprit, because he was being so careful to avoid evidence before.
He tells all of this to the FBI agent, who of course ignores it because it's rubbish. But we then get treated to easily the dumbest piece of dialogue in the entire film.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Pretty sure the dumbest thing I ever heard was when Dave said, "Would you like to watch Torque?"
So Ice Cube works out where they're going, and we get treated to the biggest and dumbest bike chase you will ever see.
They start off by going through some trees, which is a lot like the speeder scene, but less believable, from Return of the Jedi.
Hey look, I can drive quickly in a straight line on bumpy ground while firing pistols.
So Ford and Ice Cube go out.
Just you and me, baby!
And of course, as logic would dictate, they jump onto a train.
Well, why should a movie about bike racing bother itself with the concept of momentum?
So now Ice Cube jumps off the train because...
And it's only then the driver notices something and puts on the brakes.
Ford saves Ice Cube from the train, and it's a good thing too, because those brakes haven't done a damn thing.
So the heroes finally decide to do something relatively smart and hide in the back of a truck instead of biking around in bright colours.
This gives us time for a pointless scene with the bad guys, just to remind you, they're not very nice.
The FBI guy opens the back of the truck only to find nothing inside.
Until our heroes burst out, killing him instantly.
Although instead he's perfectly fine, not knocked down or wet from that explosion whatsoever.
So our hero drives off in a car, because it's a biker movie.
And now he's swapping from car to bike in the middle of a high-speed drive. This is just getting insane.
So they go up a ramp, and the FBI guy decides he's going to follow them in his Hummer.
What? How the hell do you launch a Hummer and turn it in midair? Forget this. You're on your own. This movie is too fucking dumb for me.
Okay, Leicester.
Yay!
So you just need to read Matt's lines?
What are we reviewing?
Talk?
Oh my fucking way.
Excuse me, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Anyway, so Ice Cube and Ford fight for a bit until the shovel flips a gun onto Ford's chest. But I just don't care anymore.
Think you man enough to drop that hammer?
Don't want to. I didn't kill Junior either.
After a little chat, Ice Cube decides he actually believes Ford and is going to help him set up an ambush for Henry.
They set up a meeting in a warehouse and we get a talk about this new bike.
Y2K. Fastest bike in the world.
The FBI agent turns up to ruin the conversation. He then decides to shoot his partner because apparently he's a traitor. But no one really cares anymore, because I certainly don't.
So now I get to pin this murder on you, and, well, everyone knows you killed Junior, so now I can shoot you both.
Luckily, for no particular reason, Ford has rigged the place to blow up.
Henry turns up and things look bad for our heroes.
Of course, the FBI guy's partner has survived, and after a handy distraction, some terrible editing, our heroes escape the warehouse.
Ford decides to hop onto his super mega awesome plot device bike to chase after Henry, while Shane has a fight with the other woman. And the FBI guy gets blown up.
We get to see the women battling it out with some bike foo. But of course, in the end, Mountain Dew triumphs over Pepsi.
Meanwhile, Ford is chasing Henry and, my god, I thought Sky Captain had the worst green screen effects ever. This just proves me wrong.
After a lot of nonsensical crap, the bike explodes, leading Ford to roll once and then be perfectly fine.
Ford clears his name with the other FBI agent, and then him and Ice Cube are buddies forever.
What?
Thanks.
Don't sweat it, man. Just do me one favor.
Kill yourself.
It mercifully ends. In conclusion, I hate this movie. If you couldn't tell already, this causes a lot of rage in me. The main characters, including the villains, are all just a bunch of unlikable sods. Specifically, the heroes are dickheads in their own right, but everyone else just seems to be worse by default. The main issue throughout the entire theme of the movie, it's a movie about bikers, bike chases, bike fights. What do we get? Special effects and a disregard for all physics behind an actual bike. One particular bit where the super bikes magically turn into dirt bikes just so they can have an off-road chase as well. If you're a bike fan, and if you love bikes, you're gonna know this stuff.
This film is basically The Fast and the Furious, but with bikes. And I didn't like The Fast and the Furious. It has the same problems. Lots of close-up shots on a bit of a bike. Lots of computer-simulated images of an engine at work. As if anyone really cares, we just want to see some action. The action itself is usually dull and stupid. You don't really care if the characters live or die because they're all throwaway, worthless characters. I think Ice Cube pretty much sums up exactly what's wrong with the film.
Shit don't feel right. Don't sound right. don't look right.
I want to ride my